We're live again for another episode of HR Shouts and Whispers, episode number 53. And ang topic natin ngayon, the power of introverts and extroverts. Munti ko na sabihin the power of Grayskull eh. Nauta ko na.
Kinabahan ako dun sa
Ano,
power.
pahinto ako na. The power of
Napahinto.
Grayskull.
Power.
Old school. Pero yun nga, syempre, ang dami natin pag-uusapan ngayon and ang dami natin matututunan for this episode. I understand that everyone knows if they're like introverts or like extroverts. Let's explore more. Syempre, my name is Ken Somera and syempre, ang main host natin, si Cristina Reclamado. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Ken, and hi, everyone, and everyone who's watching, okay, with us. We're going to talk about the power of introverts and extroverts, okay? So, we'll know how to harness that power. Kinabahan ako dun sa, sa green ni Ken, kasi it was like, it's not really avatary. It's not sanitized. There's something. Anyway, we'll introduce our guests first, okay? So all the way from Cebu, okay, we have the VisMin Director of Profiles Asia, and she's the lead facilitator of People Dynamics Incorporated. So, Miss Abby, how are you?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I hope you're having a great time tonight. So we're so happy here in Cebu. We are now on MGCQ, but
Wow.
still with
Congrats.
quarantine pass. So parang modified talaga. Still on
Modified.
quarantine.
Modified sa modified ECQ. Parang gano'n. Okay. Well, anyway, we'll talk about your adventures during your second ECQ or MECQ period. Okay. And then George, okay. So how are you, George? George is an org dev, okay, expert. Oh, ano yung org dev?
Di naman expert, specialista lang.
Expert. May H para special. Okay. And so George has an upcoming, George is known to talk about finding your superpower. So he'll help us find our superpower. Ano ba yan? X-ray vision? Parang paninilip lang yun eh.
Okay. So thank you, Chris. Hey everyone, good evening. Welcome to our episode. Actually, it would be better if we get from our guests yung insights nila on these personality or tendency tests. Ako naman, the workshop that's incoming is really more, just to be able to maximize whatever you have. So it's more of like a tamer version of the Strengths Finder program. No? So if you guys are very much familiar with Tom Rath's Strength Finder program, it's something similar to that. So yun lang. And tonight, hopefully, we get to uncover all these traits, no, that we're gonna be validating from our guests. Siguro kami add lang ng mga insights din. Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Yes, I'm glad that you're able to make it this evening. Alam mo, usually si George busy at palagi. And then our secret friends, okay, because later on our guests, our audience is going to guess, okay, who is the introvert and who is the extrovert. So we've called on our secret introverts and our secret extrovert. Oh, diba? Okay.
Wow.
So we don't know. I don't know. We were talking, what are you? So we'll introduce first one of the admins of HR Shouts and Whispers, and then she's been around all the HR forums, okay? So she's been talking about yung mga, like, for example, mga ilang questions about FWA, okay? Your facts, okay? Getting to know these facts and how to process a lot of things. Basta mga facts about this mga issues on pandemic. So we have Miss Tina Coam. Hi, Tina.
Tina's on mute, I think. We can't hear you.
There. Okay, we'll go back to Tina. Okay. And then also our friends from Toastmasters, they're joining us once again. Okay. So we have Jello Rayututar. Hi, Jello.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
And, okay, ito kabatch ko to eh. So, si Miss Yin Mabatan. Hi, Yin.
Hi, good evening.
So, I think Yin had a busy afternoon. She was going around, you
Yeah.
were going around all the Toastmasters club. Ano
Yeah.
ba yan?
Oh, yeah.
Introvert
Hey,
ba yan? Extrovert?
Postmasters.
Okay na,
Introvert
no?
ba yan?
Okay na? You can hear? Okay, perfect.
Yes, yes, yes. We can hear you.
Okay, Tida. So, you were saying
Good
earlier?
evening, everybody. So excited to be part of this and finding out our real self. So looking forward.
Okay. So, ano to? Parang si Boy Abunda, magsasano ng salamin. Salamin. Okay, naging showbiz na tayo. So, anyway, so we'll ask this question, okay? So, first impressions, okay? Extrovert and introvert. So, ano ba? When you think of an extrovert or introvert, what are your first impression? So, we'll start with Tina.
Ang mga introvert, even if hindi mo pinapansin, ang malaki pa rin ang impact. They always work quietly, but they produce so much. Sometimes kasi pag extrovert, iniisip ng tao, ingay ng ingay. Where do they have the time to actually do the work? So that's my impression when I meet an extrovert. Medyo mabola. Ang introvert naman is very reflective. And they can spend the whole day by themselves. That's just an impression. So it doesn't mean it's true.
Okay, yeah. Talking of first impression, or when we think of that, of those personalities. How about Jello? When you think of an introvert and an extrovert, okay, how would you describe them?
I describe extroverts as they like themselves on the spotlight, and then introverts you would normally see them in the corner reading a book, enjoying their solitude.
Yes, okay. So enjoying solitude, okay. So ano ba yan? Big word. Oh, so mahilig loner. Oh, loner ba talaga? Okay, so yun. Just to for those who want a clearer picture. How about Ian?
For me, for example, in a certain event, the introvert will usually be an observer, and he'll just pick some people to talk to, and then the extrovert, on the other hand, he can go around on that event, and he can have lots of friends and lots of people who can he be able to talk with. So that's for me. That's my understanding.
So those who do interview, who does interviews? Job
I
interviews.
do. I do.
So what are your impressions? How can you tell if the person is an introvert or an extrovert?
Sa akin, if nagtanong ka, the person who is an introvert answers just the question. Pag extrovert, umaabot sa nagsisegue. So, you ask them about their past experience, medyo mahaba yung kwento. Hindi tumitigil lang sa isang segment of sagot. Umaabot kung saan-saan sa mundo. That's usually what I think.
Tapos kakausapin si guard.
Kausapin si guard. Pag nakaupo, if once they arrive, they talk to the secretary, kukwento buhay nila. Matagal na po ba kayo dito? Tapos pag may kasamang co-worker, kausap yung fellow applicant, papansinin. Ano pangalan mo? Saan ka nang galing? Saan ka nakatira? Sabay tayo ng jeep.
No, because I used to be admin in HR, so in a Japanese company. So what I would do, may CCTV ako isa na screen and then my laptop, okay? And then during job interviews, I would see kung sino yung mga pumapasok for interview. Yung mga mahilig makipag-usap kay guard, for sure extrovert yun. Other than instructions, talagang chichikahin nila yung receptionist, chichikahin nila yung security. How about George?
For interviews, I would think that the extroverts would be more expressive. No, when I say expressive, they use a lot of really big words. They visualize everything. They use their hands. No? The introverts, on the other hand, sabi nga ni Tina, is very much direct to the point. They're very they're very economical, but at least they're also very precise, no? When they try to come up with their answers. Not saying that the extroverts aren't precise, except they're just more expressive. No, siguro that's something that can be very very latent when you see it with them. So yun lang ang parang pinaka nakikita ko when I do interviews na itong taon to nag-apply for a sales position. So galing niya mag-explain, no? High energy, no? High energy. Pero yung mga introverts naman, minsan yung mga taga-accounting, stereotype di ba? Mga taga-accounting, mga taga-admin, very straightforward lang. Yun yung mga pinaka nakikita namin na na sabihin nating trend, no, when we're talking and interviewing to our candidates.
Sino ba dito in accounting? Is there an accountant here?
Ayan,
Tama ba yun, Yin?
Tama ba yun? Tama ba?
Most of the accountants are like that, but there are some exceptions.
So make no mistake na extroverts din accountants ang kilala. Marami din sila.
Meron.
Yeah.
Nasa stereotype lang.
So when it comes to jobs ba, merong certain jobs that are, parang prefer a certain personality. Miss Abby, you're into assessment. Okay, so
Yeah, that's true. So, actually, there's no right or wrong na personality type for a particular job, because just like what Ken shared earlier, di ba Ken, when before we went live, you were sharing about how being in a certain typology, it convinces you na ako to, I'm introvert, so I'll act this way, or that I'm extrovert and I'll act this way. It could also work in another way, wherein with that particular awareness, like if you're aware that you're introvert, you try to simulate and learn how to act like an extrovert. For example, how to be lively, how to be fun, how to be talkative. And on the other side also, if you are aware, for example, that you are extrovert, but then you know that that situation requires you to be more or less reflective, or a little formal, for example, and you get to also adjust the way that you act. Which is why if you will ask me if there is a certain job na para lang sa introvert, or that there is only a certain job na fit lang for extrovert, I certainly would say that it doesn't really work that way. Because at the end, with self-awareness and with the power of choice, ayan, power ulit, no? With the power of choice, you get to adjust, no? You get to adapt as well. Because speaking of accountants, for example, I know of one accountant who is truly very extrovert. Like in the morning, she would greet everyone sa lahat ng department, saying hi to everyone, no, along the way. But then if it's time to do the computations, to do the alone time, biglang napapa-silent, no? Si ate na introvert agad, no? So maybe yung important there is for you to get that self-awareness of the things that you need to manifest for that particular job, or for that particular task, for example. So yun, Miss Chris.
Yun. So parang acclimating to the job. Parang
gano'n. Yes, that's true. Kasi, for example, I know also a lot of salespeople who are so talkative, But then you will come to find out na hala, introvert pala yun.
Correct.
So you'll be surprised,
Correct.
wow, really?
Mm.
Oh, di ba? So may mga ganong factor. May mga tao talagang lumalabas sa shell nila to become what is suitable and apt for that particular situation.
So when do you know that you're an introvert or extrovert? Like when do you have that awareness?
Ako tin ano eh. Ay, sorry. Let me just answer very quickly. Um, I think the knowledge also comes from feedback from people. You don't exactly take a test knowing that, hey, I'm going to be, I'm an introvert or extrovert. It's usually people give you feedback and then you take the test kasi naka-receive ka ng feedback na, oy, introvert ka yata eh, oy, extrovert ka yata eh. Matignan nga, ma-validate mo. No, so I think part of that has something to do with people giving you feedback. And then if just to add to what Miss Abby said, which I would agree certainly, it also depends where you're standing.
Mhm.
Introversion or extroversion really depends on your situation right now currently. Sometimes you can be an introvert. After 3 or 4 years, extrovert ka na bigla. Depende sa sitwasyon, depende sa environment, and siguro depende sa circumstances that you're trying to deal with.
Yes.
Kaya yun yung sinasabi nila na ano eh. Nakakatawa eh kasi yun na nga, may mga introverted people, hindi talaga hindi ko maririnig, no? Very quiet sila. Pero pagkasama barkada nila, sobrang ingay nila, di ba? Di ba, nakikita mo eh. So again, siguro parang yun lang, just to put some context. And sorry for butting in.
No,
I just
no.
wanted
Okay.
to bring up that one just to make sure it's there.
Well, actually, I'm just very curious kasi when kasi ako, parang, there was a time because I was kind of confused. Confused if I'm introvert, extrovert. Okay. But those in Toastmasters, okay, I think they're self-confessed introverts. Okay. For some reason, they joined Toastmasters because they wanted to conquer that introversion.
That fear, okay.
So si Jello, when you're doing a speech, how do you feel dati?
Yes, you're correct, Chris, that I actually joined Toastmasters to conquer certain fear. But after a while, it's not the fear of public speaking that I'm conquering. It's the fear of the people listening to me
Mhm.
if they would reject me or accept me
Oh,
as a speaker
judgment.
in front of them. That's right.
Ito si Yin. Is that similar?
I'm still new to Toastmasters, so I have this jittering feeling. Yeah, so there's still some kind of fears that I'm trying to overcome. It's more of, would I be able to meet the expectations of my audience? So it's more of fear of, failing.
Actually, I do have stage fright. Okay, believe it or not, I feel it here. Okay, I kind of feel it here on my arm. Okay, and it's something when I was younger, I won't move because if I move and then I point, I would see my hand shaking like that.
Oh.
Yeah. So I would not move that part. Okay. So, but I've learned to breathe and just smile. Pero and every time I meet somebody on Zoom, kahit ano siya, private meeting or whatever, I have that jittery feeling. Like it's like butterfly in my stomach. Okay. Hindi lang halata kasi namamask ko na siya. Pero kasi when I teach communication, like your public speaking, dati, I tell them, actually, I'm an introvert and I feel that. I just try to relax. Kasi pag ganyan mo, yeah, especially before I don't know, when you have your mic, ganyan siya. Ganyan.
Oo.
Makikita mo, But you see certain speakers, walang lapel, they hold the mic, bilang ganon. Ganon. So, I have that. So, it's just like being exposed, in mga communication situations that I was able to relax myself. Ayun. So that's my story in public speaking. Yun.
Pero you know what, Miss Chris? I know some extroverts who would also share that even if extroverted sila, they still get stage fright. And
Actually,
sometimes
I
they
think
they look for excuses then to get away from that particular stint, for example. So maybe it's also it's
parang biological response na lang yun.
oo
Facing
nga eh.
people. Oo.
That's true. Pero in relation to what you shared earlier, when does people get to realize whether or not they are introvert or extrovert? I think it's when you get to the point wherein you were taught about the boxes, no? Yung kagaya nung earlier natin na discussion. Because for example, for me and my part, I just got to know about introversion and extroversion during college. And then we took up Myers-Briggs, for example, as a course. And then from there, I realized, ay may ganun pala. No? So, it's also that awareness, and then with further experiences, parang nababalidate yun na typology. And
How
it
would
and yeah, it becomes stronger because you capitalize on the strength of that particular typology, I guess. So yun I think it's also parang nature and nurture din siya, no, na part.
But Tina has a question, I think.
how kasi I know Myers-Briggs is one of the most popular way to find out if you're an extrovert or introvert. In your experience, yung after you find out what type of person he or she is, how accurate is Myers-Briggs yung in application sa observation po ninyo?
Based on
Observation,
academic,
opo. Like when you
uh,
talk to a person, the person says, I'm an IFPJ, for example. You're like, okay,
okay.
yeah, you're right. Or you're like, no, you're not. I mean, how practical or realistic is Myers-Briggs here in the Philippines when somebody takes a test, and then do they usually match what Myers-Briggs says they are in your
To be
experience?
to be honest, Tina, based on the results, I'll just have to speak
Mm,
about my batchmates.
right, opo.
They did not turn out the way that MBTI predicted them to be.
Mm,
Kasi yung MBTI, it looks into a certain four letters na typology,
mm,
right? And it's
mm,
immediately linked to a certain type of job.
mm,
Like,
right.
di ba, if you're INTJ, you're supposed
Mm,
to be a scientist,
Exactly.
you
mm,
love working alone, and so on and so forth.
mm,
But you wouldn't know, like, for example, perhaps during college, si
mm.
INTJ nag-fraternity,
Mhm.
nag-party-party, naging magaling sa collaboration, na-nominate sa student council, and then naging politician, and so on and so forth. And then na-hire, naging customer service, si INTJ. So, people will see him or her as someone who is truly extroverted when in fact INTJ pala siya, which is usually associated to a scientist, for example. So, I think that is the aspect na the MBTI is finding it quite, kung in terms of reliability, in terms of the prediction of jobs, minsan hindi siya on point,
Mm.
si MBTI. But I know of other framework na mas reliable siya because rather than associating a certain typology to a certain job, yung reports niya would show recommendations on how to overcome certain weaknesses and how to leverage on certain strengths. So pag ganun yung approach, it's more into personal development rather than putting you in a box. Mas helpful yung assessment.
What
Like
is that test?
si DISC.
Ah,
The DISC profile, that's one of the most widely used in the whole world. It would put you in certain typologies, not just based on introversion or extroversion. It would also categorize you according to your task orientation or your people or your relationship orientation. Like for example, if you are extrovert and you are task-oriented, nandun ka sa dominant typology. Dominant typology is usually associated with control, you would like to compete, you are results-oriented, and minsan, the people around you get stressed, but of course, you get things done because you are dominant. Yung isang typology din sa DISC is influence. Sa extroversion and people orientation. So influence, as the name implies, is about expressiveness. No? It's also about looking at the big picture, trying to establish relationships. Kaya influence. Meron ding typology under DISC, which is steady. Steady is a combination of introvert and people or relationship orientation. This time, it's collaboration, it's teamwork, it's about being a contributor to the team. And then the other typology, which is C, is the compliance. Ito na yung combination ng introversion and task orientation. So this is about precision. This is about accuracy. It's about being analytical about everything, making sure that it's perfect. So si DISC, because of the factor ng people orientation and task orientation, parang yung result niya is more aligned to certain expected work behaviors. So, based on my experience, si DISC captures more insights na mas relevant sa workplace.
Yeah.
Based on what I observed so far.
Kasi it's divided into dimensions, di ba?
Oo.
Kasi yung MBTI, kasi it's kind of big. And, you know, sometimes what I do with MBTI, I actually make, during recruitment, people make you answer that, right? Okay, so when you do that, everyone is parang ESTJ, ENTJ. Okay, now when you've hired them, make them do the test after 3 months. Nag-change siya. Hindi siya, that's what I noticed. Kasi that's what I do sometimes. Parang, let's review our, let's backtrack. Okay, why don't you take the test again? Let's see. Parang I just, kasi we have to procure, diba, mga exams for recruitment. So I try to test out. So that's how I figured out na MBTI is not that accurate. Nagbabago siya.
Pero when you were describing kanina yung DISC, kasi I'm not as familiar with it, pero as you were describing it, I was already imagining the different types of positions that the where everybody falls. Like, for example, the sales manager is usually the influencer, right? So he's the one who motivates people to reach the quota. You need a person who is compliant. Kasi otherwise, there's a compliance officer, yung medyo OC, KJ, yung laging hinuhuli ka pag may mali. There's always somebody in the office who always corrects you. Like, this is not tama kasi kulang ka ng 2 cents. And then we'll actually call you for that. There's always somebody and that's good, right? You need somebody like that in the office. They're very, kasi they stop you from getting into trouble. You do need steady people And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you also need a dominant person to move everybody along. So as you were
That's right.
describing it, I was thinking you cannot have too many people in your office because everybody has their own work, and you get more things done if you have a combination of all four,
That's
not just one.
correct. That's true,
'Di ba? Pag
Tina.
masyadong maraming dominant, walang susunod. Lahat leader.
Yeah, true.
Masyado namang maraming influencer, walang
Sobrang
gumagawa.
ingay.
Walang
Yeah, true.
gumagawa. Nobody does the work, diba? And then if there's too many steady people, you might reach, no, there's not a lot of vision. Maybe you'll just stay stagnant in a position, ganon. So you were describing it. It hits the heart in terms of organizational development.
Yeah, that's right. So, ano talaga, yung optimal is a healthy balance of the
Mm.
dominant, influence, steady, and compliance. Very good, Tina. No,
Yeah.
that's
Actually,
correct. Mm-mm.
there's another test that I would
Mhm.
recommend because the disc, the good thing with the disc, because it's more simplified, it's easy to follow. There's another one that you can take a look at. It's called e-colors. It's under Equilibria. Just go to equilibria.com or ecolors.com. It's very similar to the disc,
Uh-uh.
except it also gives you a lot of insights based on the overlaps. Kasi si disc, di ba, it compartmentalizes you into
Mhm.
four critical areas. Now,
Mhm.
with MBTI naman, it's just too much. No, it's just parang so many of these personalities. Now, one onus that I've seen, no, in terms of these assessments, and I guess it's ako lang, it might just be me, no. You've taken one, you've actually taken them all. Kasi usually they give you the same insights, they give you the same results. But apparently, and again, it's always a warning that I usually tell my folks, no. Always remember, you're only going to take the test because you want to seek your improvement areas.
Correct.
You want to know what things to develop. Sabi nga ni Abby kanina, you want to understand what particular aspects of the work you're trying to better become good at, no?
Mhm.
And also how to manage some of the things that you're not in control of. So that's one. But rest assured, after a few years, after a few months siguro, things will also change depending on where you're standing. And when
Mhm.
it does, take the test again and you'd be surprised. The best type of positions, I would think, and Abby says so, and also Cristina, is to actually gain balance. The four areas is the best type of quote and unquote stereotype, no? Which means you can be dominant if the situation calls for it. You can be an influencer if the situation calls for it. You can be steady if the situation calls for it, and you can also be compliant if the situation calls for it. So again, it's very much like situational understanding of the playing field and then how you can adapt to that. But sometimes, again, because of these tendencies, it's difficult to adapt. Kaya yun yung tinuturo nitong mga assessments. Get better insights. How do you adapt yourself? How do you better improve yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's right. Mm-mm. And in relation to what you shared, George, regarding adapting, aside from personal development, assessment results of the typology is also good for the leader who wants to understand how their members act, feel, and think, and perhaps for team development also, so that you get to understand where each of your teammates are standing, or what's their position about things, how are they likely to react. So ano
Para hindi
talaga
mo
siya?
sila ma-offend. Para hindi
Yeah,
mo sila
that's
ma-offend.
right. That's
Kasi if you're a
right.
dominant leader and then you have, let's say, a very compliant direct report, sometimes because you're dominant, you always push for results. You don't care what happens. You don't really care about the next person beside you, what he feels. And that's the good thing about these assessments, because you can take a scan and say that, hey, I have a direct report. who is very compliant. And when they see me as so dominant, we actually hurt their feelings. So we have to adjust as a leader. Diba? So we have to make those adjustments and say na, once in a while, pipreno ka. Kakamustahin mo yung tao mo. Uy, kamusta ka? Baka masyado akong nakaka-offend, masyado akong mabilis. Or for that matter, I may need to clarify myself. I may be too direct to the point sometimes. Baka nasasaktan kita. Kasi there are some leaders who are really direct to the point. Kunyari sabihin ka, bukas istantihin na kita. Di ba? And if you're into the influencer type, lalabanan mo yun, away kayo. Pero kung compliant ka naman, iiyak ka. Di ba? Kung steady ka, dadamdamin mo yun. Kasi sabihin mo, grabe naman itong si boss. So again, these dynamics, I certainly agree with that. These dynamics are very, very important for you. Better to manage better your direct reports.
Yeah,
Laking bagay niya.
Yeah, kasi ngayon, during the crisis, okay, you need to be able to predict how your employees are going to act when you deliver certain news, okay? Like for example, diba, we don't know, diba, like when during the first part of the pandemic, we had to form communication plans to our organization within our organizations, okay? And these kinds of data, okay, we need those. Kasi we need to structure the communication in a way that's palatable to these people. But I'm curious, okay? Si Tina kasi, she hires salespeople, okay? So during your interview, okay, so what are the strengths and weaknesses of each group, introverts and extroverts in your company?
We actually prefer introverts as sales. I mean, if that makes sense.
Okay,
It's
why so?
true.
Why so?
Kasi for me, I believe when you're doing sales, kasi ang pinaka ayaw gawin ng sales staff or mga sales people is yung report. And from a management perspective, all of those reports are important because if they're finishing up their report, they're working. Kasi sometimes if you're too maingay, mabola, you sound as if you're performing, but you're actually not. So we love introverts who are salespeople. Kasi pag quiet sila, they won't go to the neighbor, they won't go to the other tenants to talk to them, they won't chismis whatever's going on to their husbands or their kapatid, walang magsusulsol, they're just quiet. Pero when they're in their job and there's a customer in front of them, that's the only time, like 5 to 10 minutes, that they actually talk the entire day. And they're fine with that. So we love introverts who talk for like 5, 10, 15 minutes, diba? And then when they're not talking, they're like, nagpupunas ng showcase, nag-aayos ng report, they don't spend a lot of time kasi we have problems then sometimes if the sales are extroverts. Because nawawala sa store. Nakikipag-usap doon
Punta
sa
kabila.
Yeah! So we love introverts. For us, so pag masyadong madaldal, sa orientation, nakikipagkaibigan doon saan ka nakatira? Sabay tayo. Oh no, hindi tatagal to. That's application-wise. I mean, no bias to extroverts. They're lovely. It's just that for the work that I require them to do, which is to actually perform, I really love introverts as employees and sales staff.
I have yes, Miss Abby.
I just would like to add to what Tina said earlier about introverts doing well in sales. Actually, there's a study about it, why introverts tend to earn more as a salesperson. It's because if the extrovert starts out by talking and talking and talking, the introvert starts by asking and listening.
And observing.
That's
and
true.
Calculating the quota. They're always writing it down. Magkano yung sales ko per day? Magkano sales ko per month? Lahat, kasi they're so worried to make a mistake. So the only way that they can yung pass is to actually perform. Whereas the extrovert's like, I'm gonna wing it.
Okay.
I'm just gonna wing it sa report.
Tama yun.
Yeah, true. And magaling daw sa active listening tong introverts. Which is why they understand what customers need. Kasi
Well,
Hindi.
nakikinig.
Oo.
Mm-mm.
Tsaka ang ano pa, isa pang maganda sa introverts, and I guess it also bodes well with me having respect for people who are Toastmasters. Very high yung kanilang organizational skills. No, they come up with things very vividly in terms of sequences.
Hmm.
So, and that's what Toastmasters does. I'm sure you guys would agree, diba? Na, they teach you how to organize well. And even if you're an introvert, and that's what public speaking is all about. You don't need to be loud. As long as you can organize your thoughts clearly, you can facilitate the discussion. And similarly then with sales, no? I would agree with the reports kasi critical ang reports. And also because the sales job has already evolved.
mhm.
Nung time, siguro about 20 years back, sales is really more of boka lang eh. Kausap eh. Now it's different. No? It's very strategic. You ask questions, you elicit the problems, no? You be able to distill that, you form and organize them accordingly so that when you come back, you have may bala kang maayos. No? So it's a process na din eh. So sales itself is already a process. So that's why I think introverts are also very good at it. No? So yun,
Okay,
and
so
in similar fashion, ganun din yung mga taga Toastmasters.
okay.
Sorry,
I'm
introvert.
just cutting this discussion short because we want to raise the flag for extroverts. Okay, so
Oo.
sige, I'll choose Ken. Well, so extroverts. Okay, what endearing qualities do they have?
Sa akin kasi, siguro hindi ako nagsalita kanina eh. Basically, introvert gets, recharges inside and by themselves. Extroverts recharge through other people. So, sa akin,
Mhm.
mainly, that's all about it. I mean, some extroverts can be also silent, pero they get
Mhm.
their energy, they get to recharge when they talk to people. Or, yeah, ganun. Kaya karamihan, what I get to see right now, people who are like in doing Facebook lives like this, doesn't mean that mostly are extroverts. Sometimes they just
Mhm.
visualize that they're just talking to themselves. Introvert pa rin. Pero yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, okay, a real extrovert, I'm married to one, si hubby. Okay, my husband is a real extrovert. Okay, you know what I like about them? They're big picture. They see the big picture. Pero pagka yung mga details ayaw, hindi allergic. Okay, that's why he has me. Okay, to work with him. Okay, pero pag thinking about yung mga vision and then you're thinking about like 2-year plan, 5-year plan, they can do that. Okay, Miss Abby, do you agree?
Yeah, that's one thing I like about extroverts. They like to take risks. They are open to new experiences. So mas fun. No,
Mhm.
it's also fun to be with extroverts. Parang they like experimenting. They love to travel. They would like to taste different cuisines, different menu. So, masaya din, no? It's also a very good mix, no, of qualities. So, perfect pala kayo, Miss Chris. Your personalities would complement.
We're actually opposites talaga. Kasi when he took the MBTI, he is an ESFJ. I am an INTJ. So, pero
Oh.
TJ, thinkers and judge. Okay, personalities. So, ayun, kasi ngayon, having reflected on my MBTI, okay, results, okay, parang hindi na ako masyadong naniniwala because I've read some, books about it, gano'n. Pero before kasi, si George, we went to the same college, eh. So, kilala niya ako since college. He was saying, hindi extrovert ka. Kasi
No,
dati, wala naman ako masyadong alam. So, kaya mukhang extrovert kasi ano lang, 'di ba? Mambuli na lang, 'di ba? I mean, if you win an argument, I can't win an argument with details. So, daan na lang sa, 'di ba? Boka-boka. So, that's what I did. If I reflect, okay, when I reflect upon it. Yun. So with extroverts, maganda sa extroverts, they're fun. They're always the life of the party. Diba?
Correct.
Oo, they don't really need to get drunk eh. Parang when you have a gathering, they just like go to the center and parang ang daming mga jokes, okay? So parang it's natural with them. Yun. With work naman, they make work relaxing. I mean, it's a relaxed atmosphere kasi they make it fun. Puro kayo tawanan, di ba? Yun nga lang, pagdating sa reports, Oo. Yun. Oo. Yun. So, anyway, Ken, do we have questions from our audience?
Actually, marami tayong statements coming from our friends who are watching right now. Siguro, basahin lang natin isa-isa, no? Sabi ni Ayen, good evening. Ako po, bata pa lang, pansin na introvert ako. Yes, very shy ako, bata pa lang. Pero nung tumatanda na, nababawasan ang shyness. Pero talagang mas preferred ko na mag-isa at napapagod ako sa events na maraming tao na di ko kakilala. Yan sabi ni Ayan Santawana. Tapos si James Felias also said, in academe, MBTI is a hoax. There's issue on validity, reliability, etc. Beside the issue that it was copied from another psychologist's work without fully explaining or relating to that school of thought. Regarding personality, 16PF by Cattell are popular now in academe or school setting. This personality test is popular in the workplace. Okay, yun sabi niya. Sabi naman ni Ram Nudo, agree with you, Miss Tina. But anyone can improve either side. Probably this was about introvert and extrovert. Isa pa, sabi ni James, good thing for extroverts is that they are more relational. They may be more effective in situations where they have to be assertive and make the situation in your favor. Mas madali silang mag-explain. Yan. Pero guys, may
And
comments
then
pa
they're
kayo
very
sa...
charming,
Oh,
okay?
oh.
Very charming.
Oh, yan. Yun yung mga comments natin as of now. Yeah.
Okay, so we have viewers, okay, putting in their comments. Okay, so we're going to make them guess, okay, who is the introvert and who is the extrovert or ambivert. Okay,
Wow, exciting.
okay, so they have to, so Abby, okay, si Abby, introvert, extrovert, ambivert. So they have to tell us kung ilan ng introvert, ilan ng extrovert, ilan ng ambivert dito sa panel na to. Diba? What will they get? They will get 100 pesos load. The two guys, okay, that can, guess the correct number of introverts, extroverts, and ambiverts will get 100 pesos load. Okay, pero dalawa lang.
Diba, balance of extrovert and introvert. So, not majorly. Okay.
Okay, ambivert. Okay. Kasi we will be transparent naman. Di ba? Raise
Okay.
hand ka, di ba? So, yun? Pabilisan kayo. Kasi makikita mo naman kung sino. Di ba? Okay. So, itina natin. Si Miss Abby, introvert, ambivert, extrovert. Quiet muna. Sabay-sabay tayo magsasabi mamaya. Si Jello, introvert, extrovert, ambivert. Kung nakikinig kayo, alam na ninyo. Si George, introvert, extrovert, ambivert. Wala dito yung di kasarian, no? Walang ganon. Walang kasarian, walang yung mga neuter.
Iyak.
Grammar yun, hindi yun MBTI or okay. Si Yin, introvert, extrovert, ambivert. Si Ken.
Nag-aapoy.
Hindi evil or good, okay? Introvert, extrovert, ambivert. Hindi yan good or evil, okay? Tapos ako, introvert, extrovert, ambivert, okay? So, introvert. Sino ang introvert? Taas ang kamay.
Ngayon na, reveal na.
Meron naman nagsagot? Meron naman sumagot kung ilan?
Wala pa. Si
Pabilisan na lang.
Kim Adasa, sabi ni Kim, 4 na introvert, 2 extrovert, 1 ambivert.
Naku, may
Nako,
math na.
napakagaling. Mananalo siguro. Wait, ano ulit yun? Ano ulit yun? What that?
Sabi ni
4.
Kim Adasa, 4 na introvert,
Okay.
2 extrovert, tsaka 1 ambivert.
Okay. Nakikita ko
Interesting.
na.
Interesting.
Meron pa ba mag-guess? Si Kim lang.
So tanggalin mo lang muna natin siguro yung concept ng ambivert dito. Introvert, extrovert lang.
Okay,
Ay, oo nga.
introvert. Palitan natin. Introvert, extrovert na lang. Yung dominant.
Game. Yan i-lock in nyo na yung
Ulitan.
ulitan.
Uy, baka ma-shock sila. Basta hindi to yung
4 na
grammar na
introvert.
masculine, feminine, hindi ganun. Hindi yun.
4 na introvert, 3 extrovert daw. Sabi ni James.
Ano?
4 na introvert and 3 extrovert. Sabi ni James. Saan po ang original video? Ito, original video to.
Pagka ni-rewind mo kami.
Live to eh.
Kasi giveaway na si Cello.
Ayan, disregard mo na yung ambivert. Ayan, introvert
Okay.
na lang tsaka extrovert. Yeah.
Introvert, extrovert.
Isa
Okay.
pa. Magbigay naman kayo siguro ng background ng ginagawa ninyo mainly para at
Okay,
least
ito
bigyan
na
ng
lang.
background.
Clue na
Jello,
lang.
Jello, what do you do?
What do you do, Cello? Interview.
I'm actually working in the BPO setup
As a?
as a team lead.
Okay.
Okay. So, thank you. Si
Maikli yung sagot.
Okay.
May clue na kayo doon.
Sige. Next naman.
Diin.
Siyan.
Right now, I'm into accounting and tax consulting.
Wow.
Economical.
Pang matalino.
Sige. Abby naman.
Ako, I'm into training and consulting. And I also teach part-time.
Si Tina.
Ina.
I'm a manager of a retail, what do you call it, brand.
Lahat matitipid ang sagot.
Nauna si Jello ginaya lang namin.
George.
George. George, habaan mo.
Yan, pareho kami ni Abby, I'm into consulting and training as well.
Si Cristina na.
Cristina.
Actually, I'm your host, and I'm the host of HR Shouts and Whispers. And I'm the HR head of a fin company.
Okay. So, yun.
Ken,
Sa akin
Ken.
naman, I'm your friend.
Yeah.
I'm your friend. I'm same like them. I do consulting, I do training, and I get to focus on working with people. So, yeah. Yun naman. Okay. Game. Tingnan na natin yung mga...
Ito pa isang round. What's your favorite color, Tina?
I don't have a favorite color. Everything's my favorite color. Bright and colorful.
Okay. How about George? What's your favorite color?
Kulay pagkain, pwede na.
Kulay pagkain.
Kaya niya sumagot
Yay, we're just using diba? The clues, diba? Si Cello, what's your favorite color?
The color of joy, yellow.
Wow.
Cello. Very extrovert. How about Miss Abby?
I like all pastel color, yung magpa-pop out na masaya. No? So, those are my favorite colors.
Si Ian nagsabi na ba?
Not yet. Yeah, but same with Miss Abby, I like pastel colors.
Okay. Okay, game na. Game.
Ah.
Okay, game. So, taasan na ng kamay. So, sino dito ang... So, dalawa lang paalala ko lang. Dalawa na lang. Extrovert saka introvert. Yun lang. So, lahat ng introvert, taas ang kamay.
Introvert.
Introvert.
Okay. So,
You
anim.
can hire us, Tina.
Anim.
Oh, and
Tapos,
extrovert.
oh,
So there's like
Great.
1,
only
6,
one
1.
Six,
extrovert.
one.
Di ba? Nakakagoyo, di ba?
Nagulat ba
Yeah.
kayo?
Ah,
Shocking
Paano
Gulat
revelation.
kayo, no?
ganon?
Gulat kayo, no?
How can a trainer and an organizational development expert be
An
Explain that.
introvert.
Explain
una,
that.
introvert.
George, bakit George?
George muna, si George
Explain.
muna.
Ito sagutin ko. Actually, tama yung sinabi ni Ken kanina. Uh, we actually get our energy from ourselves. Pero kasi katulad ko, no? Like tayo, we're good, no? I'm doing this. Pero pagkatapos nito, nag-aano na ako, nag-withdraw na. So I withdraw in my own shell. I don't want to be bothered by anyone. I seldom communicate. Alam ni Christian, especially when I'm busy. But when I'm when I'm required to do so, I have to do the job. No? So
Yeah.
ganon. Yun ang parang nakikita ko na trait ko. Kaya masabi ko talaga introvert ako. Kasi akala ko nung dati extrovert pero hindi eh. Kasi I would rather be instead of socializing, I'd rather think about things, plan, analyze. Tapos siguro when it comes to speaking to people and trying to get information out there, that's when I speak up. Pero pag tapos na, ayoko na. Kayo na
How
muna
about
yan.
the
Kayo
team
muna.
lead ba of a BPO? Di ba BPO, mga madadaldal mga yun? Tsaka sobrang daming tao dun sa loob ng BPO. How can you be an introvert?
Baka yung account.
Work at home na po ngayon.
Dati.
Yes, you're correct, Cristina.
So many people from different walks of life. How can you be an introvert?
Ano yung
Si Tina-
account?
si
What's
Tina
the type
talaga
of
ang
account?
extrovert, no? Si
Like-
Tina
like
extrovert
your-
kasi inquisitive siya eh.
Pagka matanong, extrovert yan.
Sabi sila, random interview.
Oo. Kasi I notice pag extrovert, lalo na pag sa interview, pag yung nagtatanong sa akin, daming tinatanong, ay extrovert to. Oo.
How
So,
about an instructor, diba? How can a teacher or an instructor be an introvert? Because you spend a lot of time talking to people.
Sino? Ayun, si Abby.
Yeah. Same with George. Like when I have to do a training or a webinar or it's a class, so I really have to be present. I have to be there. Pero after a social interaction or after speaking in front of a lot of people, I would tend to rest and withdraw and gather my energy. So ganun din, same coping. Which is why for situations which would require me to speak and discuss, I would have to prepare intensively, both with the content that I will share and also with my emotional preparedness. Alam mo ba, Tina, if someone calls me, sometimes I don't want to answer. Kaya minsan, when I'm at that withdrawing stage, I would just text na, sorry, I'm in a meeting. But I call you back. Kasi, for me, who's very much an extreme introvert, I need to be prepared. No, I need to know what we will talk about before I can share a moment with that particular person. But of course, if it's someone that I know, we work together every day, of course, it's easy for me to pick up a call. But if it's a number that is not registered to my contacts, ay, sorry, but seldom akong sasagot niyan pag hindi ako ready. Ganun ako.
If it's any consolation, just to share, I only have 2 stances, awake and asleep. I'm not kidding. I don't know if that makes me an extrovert, but it's true. I cannot I cannot imagine ever sitting alone and reflecting about what you're going to do, what your life is. Like if I'm going to write, I have to be on the keyboard and doing and actually writing. If I'm on the phone, I'm talking. I'm always present. But I cannot imagine parang sitting on a sofa and reflecting about what to do tomorrow, about what's going on with my life. Like very do you guys have that? Kasi from what I've heard for introvert, parang you spend a lot of time meditating. If I've done yoga before and I've slept. I don't know. How do you guys do it, diba? From it, I can't do it. It's not some. If I sit down for like 5 minutes, I can't do it, diba? How do you guys stay quiet
We
for
just
more
don't
than
talk.
5 minutes? Exactly. How do you do and do nothing? Could you do that?
No,
Yeah.
we're just quiet, but our brain is active.
We're,
Active.
Kaya
we're
nga,
talking
parang
to ourselves, Tina.
Yeah, pag yung ano,
How do you do that, diba? Parang for me, kasi I'm the only extrovert here, it's impossible na just sit down and things going in your head, you know? How is that common to all of you?
it's like mental telepathy that you only to yourself. You're talking to yourself, but the thoughts there, it's in your brain.
Yeah. We don't
Oh,
I don't have that.
that's why my husband, when he sees me, what are you doing? You're talking to yourself again. So I go, well, it's better, meet Christina too, Christina Jr. Right? It's just in our heads, okay? Because it's the same with George and Abby. If you make me talk the whole day, I will be withdrawn for 2 days. Kaya may times na tahimik ako kasi it's just that. And then sometimes there are extroverts when I talk to extroverts, lalo na yung these days. Madaming 'di ba? Like may nagkakaroon ng problems, okay? And when you talk to them, I get drained. So I have to cut the conversation short. Like, I have to go. And then when I say that, it just means that I'm already drained. But I noticed that, during this time naman, the longer I spend talking to the person, parang nasi-stretch naman ako. So I don't get drained that easily na, okay, yun. But I have to, when like after this podcast, I'm quiet. Okay. And when I'm, the 30 minutes that I have with you to prepare for that, for the podcast, is actually to warm up. Kasi I'm starting from a quiet state. Tapos, kailangan parang car mag-warm up.
How does Ian handle it?
Yeah.
For me, it's actually my way of recharging, organizing my thoughts, and going back to myself. Because it's for introvert, it's really exhausting to mingle with people. But our life doesn't end with ourselves. At the end of the day, we need to relate with other people just to feel life and embrace life. So that's it.
So, what are the audience saying?
Yun. Siyempre, pag-game ka daw isa pa.
Wala na maisip, introvert na eh.
Hindi, wala daw kasing nanalo, wala nakahula. So, next
Oh.
question daw sabi
Okay, sino ba yung nauna nag-type kanina?
si si Kim. Anthony,
Sino yung second?
si
Na
James,
lang.
James,
Si Kim and
James
Okay.
Ferrer.
Kim and James, okay, you get the 100 peso load. You just PM me your cell phone.
Grabe. Panalo ka agad. Hindi pa wala
Gosh.
pang tanong.
Oo.
Ay,
Kasi dapat i-rewind nila eh.
ang bilis. Ayan pala eh. Di, pero
Okay.
agree ako dun sa statements kanina. Very, very important yung sa pag-recharge nga eh. Siguro yung tanong din kanina ni Tina. For example, a lot of people see me as like an extroverted person because I get to like, oh, hey guys, kami energy, di ba? Pero I've trained for this for how many years? Kasi solid nga yung pagiging introvert ko. So I had to actually put myself in front of a lot of people to get over to build confidence, yung mga stage fright. I had those eh. Meron mga problema ako dun eh. So I had to build it. So ngayon, I could switch on and off. I've worked myself to become quote unquote ambivert. So instead of associating myself with introvert ako, I'm focusing more of, teka lang, I can adjust to any situation. I could be extrovert when I need to and introvert when I need to. So parang ganun yung ginagawa ko. So ayan, that's me. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about superpowers. So George, how can we draw out our superpowers?
Actually, everyone naman is has their superpowers, no. And again, regardless of whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, you have
Mm.
what you call tendencies and traits that you can rely upon anytime. Again, at the end of the day, I think I've said it din kanina. The objective is to become as balanced as possible. You know, make sure that you can adjust to any situation that's thrown at you, and you'd be able to also adjust yourself and your reaction to it. So, yun lang. Again, the superpower is actually measured with the results that you put out. It's always at the result. Results end yan. So, dun lumalabas talaga yung superpower mo. And if it doesn't, you don't come up with good results, all you need to do is look back, try to improve what you need to improve so that next time when you do the next iteration, you're better at what you're doing. So, yun lang siya. Yun lang, very simple.
So actually, majority dito sa panel na to are introverts. So I don't need to ask the question, okay, how was work from home? I think you're enjoying it. I think you're having a party. Okay, but Tina, how was work from home from you?
We always find an excuse not to stay at home. We're always still outside, talking to other people, calling family. It really does give us energy. We can
Mm.
spend, or at least I can spend a whole hour talking to a person and not even para I don't even know that an hour has been spent, which
Mm.
makes it very good when people try to consult with you. So, how about Jello? How do you like your work from home?
At last, I'm super like on my comfort zone. But as they say, life happens outside your comfort zone. So
Mhm.
I feel like I'm yearning to also go back to the old normal. But then again, being introverted person, I appreciate my alone time with myself. And that for me is synonymous to working at home because
What
you got to plan out your day and not to worry about talking to other people because you cannot actually talk just that easy nowadays to other persons.
what do
So
you do when you're diba, syempre, you spend one whole day aside from actual working? How do you
ah,
spend your time, diba? You say you enjoy being alone. What do you do when you're
so
alone?
after work, so I
Mm.
actually have a shift from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. So afternoon after my work, I have scheduled Zoom meetings with Toastmasters. So from in a day, I actually can be in a Zoom meeting, Toastmasters meeting 3 times. So 4 to 6, 6 to 8, and then 8:30 to 10:30.
Mhm.
So
Wow. Simultaneous
yes,
from three different parang what do you call it, branches?
yes.
Could you
So
tell us a
so,
little bit more about Toastmasters? Because I think some of our viewers don't even know, they've heard of it, but they've
Ah,
never really understood what Toastmasters is. Like, I know it's an international program. I finished level 1, but could it's such a good program. Can you tell Yin and Jello, can you tell us something more about it?
mm.
yes, you're correct, Miss Tina, that Toastmasters is an international organization. It's primarily communications, but the tagline of Toastmasters International is where leaders are made. So other than teaching you how to present yourself through speaking, you can also train yourself as a leader.
How
So
about
there,
Yin?
yeah.
How was your experience in Toastmasters? And which
Yeah,
branch are
it's
you? Kasi diba there's a lot of
um,
different branches.
Yeah, with Jello. I'm with Jello also and Cristina.
He has three
So
branches there.
Yeah, Fort
yeah,
Bonifacio
Yeah, yeah.
Fort
Toastmasters Club.
Bonifacio.
How
Fort
is it for
Bonifacio.
you, Toastmasters?
Actually, there was point during the peak of lockdown. I was longing to meet new friends, and widen my horizon, and that's how I started looking for opportunity on joining Toastmasters. So we joined with Toastmasters. I'm not just learning how to speak. I'm also gaining new friends and learning from them. So somehow it's also helping me cope up with this pandemic. So we learn from each other and we help each other grow.
So
So it
what they do, they hop from one club to another. You can actually join other clubs, right? In meetings, right?
Club hop.
Yeah, and then during the meetings we have this prepared speeches, and then we also have this impromptu speeches, and then after that there will be evaluations. So yeah, that's the setup of our regular meetings. Usually that's twice a month, right, Jello?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the meatiest, we actually grow through the evaluations, peer-to-peer evaluations, members evaluating the other member. So for example, Miss Tina, you're the speaker, and then
Sure.
I will evaluate you. So that's where, as a group, we learn from each other. We will evaluate each other, and then these evaluations help us grow and to be a better speaker and also leader.
Leader.
We have a question from Miss Venice Murillo. Is there any way that an introvert can change into an extrovert? Ma'am Abigail?
Based on academic sources and scientific researches, you cannot easily change
Hmm.
from an introvert to extrovert. What I know is that you can adapt certain behaviors, which would uh, help you exhibit the good qualities of an extrovert. Or you can
Mm.
also do it the other way. Like if you are very, very much extroverted and then you need to exhibit certain behaviors of an introvert, then you can learn. You can learn those manifestations. But based talaga dun sa studies, you cannot. No? And also, ako din personal experience ko din yan, Miss Tina Like ako, all my life, I would have wanted to be an extrovert so that it's easier for me to mingle with people. It's easier for me to blend in well, no, and to socialize. But yes, I have trained myself to speak in public. But at the end of the day, I still have that preference and inclination to being alone and reflecting and recharging on my own. Bumabalik ka din So
How
it's,
about when it comes to like your best friend? Do you find that you're in your experience, the person closest to you that's not your spouse, are
mm-hmm.
they introverts or extroverts? Kasi we're trying to say nga, does opposite attract? But, di ba?
Mm.
Not
I,
spouse, but just a best friend. Is your best friend an introvert or an extrovert? Because everybody has a best friend. So is your best friend, di ba? Not everybody has a spouse or have one spouse. Some people have many spouses. So with best friend talaga, kasi there's only one. Is your best friend also an extrovert or an introvert?
my closest friend is
Yeah.
very much extrovert.
Okay.
Extrovert. My husband is an extrovert because same yung observation namin ni Miss Cristina. There are very few introverts. Like my mom is extroverted, my dad is extrovert. I observe that my kids are very much extroverted. So even my team with Profiles Asia Pacific, the people I work with, isa lang yung introvert. Yung the rest are all extroverted. Um, Meaning, I think it's I wouldn't want to say that it's a validation of opposites attract.
Yeah.
Maybe,
We just want to be with people.
Mm.
ewan ko,
Or
See,
not
uh-oh.
boring. Kasi kung may kasama, sorry, introverts, pag introvert din kasama mo, ang boring naman, di ba? Nakagay, oh, isip na lang tayo. Ganun.
Eto, Yin, how about you?
Ako, actually, my spouse is an introvert also.
Ah, okay. Sige,
Ah,
okay. Hindi na opposite attract. Okay, okay.
okay.
At first, really, it was a struggle because the house was so peaceful. Like, what are we going to do? Nobody's talking. The two of us are reflecting, and the two of us are busy with our own worlds. But then along the way, we tried to adjust because we can't just, we need to communicate with each other. So part of maturity of our marriage, it became an agreement that um, we learn how to be open with each other.
Force yourself to talk to each other like 30
Yeah,
minutes a
otherwise,
day.
the relationship cannot survive.
Jello, how
ako,
about
Ken.
you?
Ken.
I actually don't have a best friend, but I have a lot of friends, and most of
Okay.
them are extroverts.
So opposites.
Yes,
Most
I
of
like
my
being
staff
with
are
them.
introverts.
Maybe we have a tendency to be with people that are opposite us. Kasi we want also, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
we want something different. Alam mo yun, we want some color in our life. Kahit introverted ka, you're not really, it's not really a dull life, okay? Kasi what's going on in our heads, hindi nyo lang alam.
That's right. True. It's so noisy, no? All the planning, that's happening, like the visualization that you need to do, Miss Tina, just to blend in, especially if you have to talk with people, you have to do coaching, you have to do counseling. Diba? Just like what Miss Cristina said, ang ingay ng utak ng introvert. So much is going on. So many internal chatter there.
I want
No?
to share my experience as an
Mm.
extrovert. When I talk to myself, it's silence. But
Mhm.
when I talk to other people, I get a lot of ideas. That's a different way of looking at it. I don't get that if just by myself, I can't come up with the best ideas. But when I'm talking to somebody else and I'm sharing my ideas with that person and they're giving me feedback, then an even more spectacular idea comes out. But it's not easy for us just to come up with a brilliant idea by ourselves. I think that's a difference between the introvert and the extrovert. Kasi sa inyo, if you're staying alone, ang daming pumapasok. Pag sa akin, mag-isa lang ako, natutulog na lang ako. Because I'm like, diba, we're opposites.
Well,
That's a
actually,
difference.
yeah, I think it's like how you process the information and where you get
Yeah.
energy
But just to
from.
give you an idea na, parang you might think, parang so many ideas come in. But actually, from my experience, ideas really come in when you talk to others, not by when you're yourself. When you're with yourself, you take a shower, you read, you're always in a state of flux, but not in terms of like, exchanging ideas.
Well, just to there is a misconception kasi with I know that I'm an introvert kasi I INTJ, okay? There's a caricature of INTJs that we hate people. 'Di ba yung masungit? So, I had to work on that when I actually became a supervisor kasi madaming nai-intimidate. So, I had to work on my relational skills, 'di ba? Yung mga empathy. So, I had to work on that also. So, it's not that parang I had suddenly had an epiphany na I'm doing something wrong. You would actually see it and then get feedback and then you would correct yourself. And I think it's something also from extroverts. Parang you see something, maybe you're a little bit, kasi sometimes it's about secrets, okay, like company secrets, and then you tend to parang give it away to like some competitor. So I think you would learn from that experience also. So you would try to adjust. So you need a little bit of pain. You need to go through that to adjust also. Okay, so Ken, okay, so any reactions? One last round of reaction from the audience. So
Yeah.
Kim and James, they'll be getting their 100 peso loan. They just have to give me their cell phone number.
Mm. Yun, guys, message yun na si Christina. Tapos, sabi ni Ayan, siguro ito yung statement. May sinabi si Ayan kanina eh. I
Mm.
wanna read it. I remember thesis defense, lahat ata ng kasama ko extrovert. Ako lang ata yung introvert eh. Iniisip ko pa lang yung sagot, kaya di ako makapag-raise ng hand. Yung mga kasama ko, may sagot na kagad sila. Kaya nung mapansin ng panel na di ako sumasagot, tinanong na ako ng diretso. Buti alam ko yung sagot. Yan sabi niya. Tapos sabi ni Grace C, sabi niya, superpowers ko, I have my imaginary bato and it's effective.
Ano, binabato niya? Ang ano niya?
Siguro Darna reference.
Darna,
Darna.
okay.
Darna reference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yan
Sorry.
yun pa lang naman.
Violence kagad eh.
Imaginary ba to eh. So yun, Kim Adaza, not sure with others or if this is valid, but sometimes I read people whether they're introvert or extrovert basing on their voices. Pwede, yeah. Nice skill. Yeah, yun lang. Yun pa lang. Yun pa lang yung comments natin. Yeah.
Well, anyway, we just wanted to have this discussion on introverts,
Yeah.
extroverts, because alam mo, madami nagtatanong during recruitment, which makes a better employee. So, kayo, which makes a better employee? Introvert, extrovert? Ako kasi whoever does the work.
Correct. Whoever is
Whoever delivers.
and
Yeah.
who delivers, correct.
Oo.
So yun yung important.
Whoever can do it and whoever that can do it perfectly or better, you know.
Oo nga.
Oo. And then there's no job that's really parang stereotype for extrovert, introvert. Kasi even sales, so we figured during the discussion, there are pros and cons. Nako, dapat. So, kung kukuha kayo ng staff, ayaw nyo ng machismis, alam nyo na. But I'm very fascinated with extroverts because hindi ko kaya yan. Yung sleep and then awake and sleep. Kasi either I can actually exist in between states. Oo. Yun. Yun yung tumatawa si Jello. Okay.
But do you think, Jello?
Mhm.
Yeah, I also have that ritual in daily basis. I'm actually taking a nap just to recharge, and then that 20-minute nap would actually I'm doing it after taking my lunch, so 12:20 to 12:40 or 12 noon to 12:20, and that 20-minute would actually last for until I hit the sack. So basically, it's really me time for you.
Does
And
it
then
get shorter?
after-
That time, like as you develop as an introvert who develops himself to be more of an extrovert or exhibit extrovert, does the time to recharge shorten as you grow older? Or does it still like depends on how long the interact? Kasi parang syempre you want to somehow get more comfortable in the company of people, diba? That's why you join Toastmasters. That's why you become like a sales lead to develop certain qualities. So you become more of an ambivert.
Ambivert.
The question is, does it get you get more comfortable or more the rest time, does it get shorter? You get, you realize that you're becoming a little bit more extroverted or hindi pa rin?
I actually have a term I made this up. Functional introvert. So what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? So I get
Depends on the
from the
need.
spectrum I'm getting some spectrum from the extrovert, and then I'm trying to copy it And then once I copied it, I try to incorporate it with what I currently have, and then see what's what's the angle they're coming from and how they're using it for this from this out, and then connect it with I already have. So
Very introvert. Okay. So he's observing extroverts. Okay. And then we're copying. Parang sa Star Trek. Okay. Si Spock.
And see it.
We're actually studying. Sorry, guys, extroverts. Okay, you're not really science experts. We actually learn. We actually adopt by observing people. So, for example, I know I get what Jello is saying. I used to actually have this. I have a best friend. I like her. I like being with her because it's easy for me to navigate crowds. Basta pagkasama ko siya, siya bahala doon. But what I do, I study her, okay, and get I get her her style, okay, and technique, okay. So parang mag-assimilate ka ng behavior. But it's actually parang you observe and then just try to use people's, as you see people. And then there was a time in college, I had a notebook, and then I have a profile of people. Oh, this is what she does when ganyan, ganyan, diba? Yeah. So that's what I
Studying
do.
people.
I
And
Ano
does
ba?
it
don't know.
start? Does it start at a young age? Kaya remember, like if you're an
Hindi.
extrovert as a kid, will you grow up to still be an extrovert, or you know that's not really, you can't really say when you're young. What do the studies say?
Yeah,
You
well,
can't you can't really
You
say
can't say yet.
because like for example, as you are growing up, it
Yeah.
also tends to develop based on the situations that you are thrown into. Like
Mm,
there are really situations which would require you to be ambivert. Usually it has to be the ideal state to be ambivert, no? So ano siya, para siyang uphill climb, but it's
mm.
also similar to what you were asking earlier about whether or not the resting stage becomes shorter or
Yeah,
it
as you get
becomes
more
easier.
comfortable. Yeah.
For my own personal experience, it's really still the same. Like there are times that when I run like 3 days of training on a weekend, I get migraine, no, and I have to really sleep in just to recover. So ano talaga siya? Um, Parang ano no, you try to cope, but it's also good that with the awareness and the willingness to work through it, you are able to adjust,
I
no?
have a challenge.
Kaya nga ba 'to, 'di ba? Darna.
Then, then I'll ask Tina to do this. Okay, try not to speak for 2 hours to anyone. That's how it will feel for you. Okay. Ganon. Parang just silence for you. Kasi opposite. Okay. If we're being drained, if we're drained when people talk to us, but ikaw, you try not speaking to anyone for
And
2 hours.
sitting down in a sofa for 2 hours and staying awake and not having any sort of telephone, iPad,
Then,
just
but
silent.
then you can
That's
serve.
tough. That's tough. Hindi,
You can,
walang surfing. Walang surfing kasi sometimes, I think if you talk to the forums, that's one way for you to
no,
exhibit your extroversion on
that's,
the internet, diba? You're talking to a lot of people, but in written form,
that,
dapat
that's
wala kang ginagawa.
that's going to be more cruel for you if you can surf. Kasi you're going to stop yourself from talking in the forums. You just surf. Oh, see, I can like, diba? That's actually how it is. Kasi us, we can browse through all the forums and not react.
Mm.
Ganon. So, parang that's a challenge for you for 2 hours. Okay, just you can do anything, sit, have quiet time, and then face like FB, but do not react. 2 hours. Okay, and then you tell us how it feels like for you. If you're it's a challenge, then that's exactly how it feels for us. Ganon.
Perfect.
Okay. Parang ano yan eh, parang torture sa'yo. Parang hindi ka makareact. Pero sa amin, it's easy. Oh, we're just not going to react. We're just going to ignore.
Mm.
I
Kasi
have a
nasa ano
question.
namin.
Yin?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I have a question. Like an introvert can, sometimes be an extrovert if the circumstance calls for it. But how about an extrovert? An extrovert, can you be an introvert if the circumstance calls for it? Can you share an instance? Just quite curious.
We love to be with a lot of people. For example, when you're in a group setting and there's a dominant person in the group, we're okay to actually keep quiet and to listen. 'Di ba? Parang so that's one way. It usually kasi we're the most dominant in a group, we always have something to say. Pag kunyari you say you give a speech, we can. But come the time when there's really a dominant person in the room, that's the time we shut up. We really do, 'di ba? But it's not easy kasi to find that type of person then. We can't do ganito, 'di ba? When you're in a new, what do you call it? When a new training session, hindi kayo magkakakilala lahat and everybody's quiet. Like, kasi they don't know each other, right? It's your first day of work, first day in a training session, and nobody's talking to each other. You're waiting for the trainer. That's torture. Or if you're on a date, and then the other person parang looks at the menu, and then like you're picking from the menu, and then it's just silence. Parang, is somebody going to talk?
Walang
I don't know.
small
I mean, when you go out on a date, can you actually spend time not talking? Like you see people on a date, but they're not talking to each other. For us, it's very uncomfortable if there's nobody talking because we feel na parang that person doesn't like us. We have nothing to talk about. So we feel the need to actually initiate the conversation just so there's no dead silence. There's a pressure for us. That's how uncomfortable it is. Sa inyo, like you're comfortable not talking. Sa akin, I really feel it's weird. And I think a lot of extroverts say that. It's the opposite direction. Especially like on the first day of work. Diba? Somebody has to get the ball rolling, but sometimes everybody's shy. Maybe everybody's an introvert. People just sit down. Ganun yata eh, diba? What's your experience?
si Yin. Okay, si Yin, date. Okay, so how do introverts date?
Yeah.
They don't want long silence. They get bored, and they don't want
Okay.
serious topics. They want to insert humor. And yeah,
Introverts.
that's for extroverts.
How about
Okay.
introverts?
Extroverts. For introverts,
Mm.
I think
Pag two introverts kayo, how was your first date?
we want
Oh,
yeah,
kinikilig.
it can be. It's more of we are calculating what to, we are parang sensing the other party. And
So pag
then,
may I love you, seryoso. Sobrang from the heart, di ba?
Kasi
it depends on the delivery.
Paano yung
Kasi
first
kung
I love you ninyo? Kasi introvert, di ba? How long does it take to think about the three words, I love you? How do you say that?
Ako,
Ay, naman.
I learned that in the process. Kasi I
Ah.
wasn't that vocal. So
And
usually, I will
And
search.
hubby. And hubby?
Hobby, yeah, we learned that in the process because we're introverts. So usually pag introvert, hirap mag-express ng emotion. Ganon. Lalo na pag mga romantic emotion. So, from my experience. So I don't know with other introverts.
ang problema kasi sa
Yeah.
introvert namin iniisip date pala.
Oh, think. Hirap na sa emotion mag-express.
Oo.
Lalo na yun.
Date pa lang, first day pa lang. Actually, what we do, we over-prepare for certain things. Like, basta may human interaction, we over-prepare.
How did Ken ligaw his wife?
Sa akin, ano eh, wala eh, just took a leap of faith. Kumbaga parang,
ka, ano, extrovert?
preparation.
Parang
Extrovert kasi.
nag-prepare talaga ako na parang fuck it, di ba? Parang wala na. Ang hirap kasi nung mga pag finokus ko yung sarili ko dun sa mga introverted ways ko. I'll be stuck in my head. Di ba? So, it took lots of practice then talking to a lot of women before I
So,
Para
Ken,
yeah.
yeah, Ken, I'm curious. Si Pam extrovert.
Hindi. Very introverted. Yeah.
Ah,
Hindi ko nga mapa-FB live yan. Ang
Si
hirap.
Jello, yung mga
Oo.
nililigawan mo, how difficult is it for an introvert para manligaw?
yes.
Yes?
Putol.
But I think
Ano,
pagka-pandemic, since he's in paradise, I think mas madali. Okay. Okay, I think there's like some technical issues. Okay. So, ito si Misabi, paano niligawan ng
Extroverted siya eh. He's so expressive. Expressive through gifts, cards, text messages. So, walang problem yan sa extrovert eh. So, they are so open eh. No? So, yun yung nakakainggit, no? Like, pag introvert ka, ang dami mong tinatago. Like when you get upset, you don't really say it also aloud. Sometimes pinaprocess mo pa. You try to visualize, how will I express this? Wag na. Parang ganun, no? But for extrovert, that's so easy. So automatic for them. So
Okay.
nakakainggit, no?
Actually, ano yan eh. I think being relaxed among people, it's something that we aspire to have. It's a skill that we aspire to have. Si Tina kasi, I think you will be able to do it kasi mahirap naman eh. Kasi it's a moment of reflection. Pero I think when you go through something really, really heavy, you will be able to have that moment. Kasi I noticed it with my husband eh, na actually pareho lang kayo ng husband ko. Ganon ng ganon. Tapos ako nag-tune out lang ako. Pero, ay, naku, maririnig niya, di ba? Okay, baka mapanood niyo to. But anyway, I noticed that when there's when there's really a big problem, doon ako, pag bigla kayong tumahimik, nako, alam ko na yun. Kaya,
How do you guys fight? Kasi, 'di ba? Parang how do the introverts fight? For me, it's talking for 3 hours. Paulit-ulit.
kami the evil eye.
Quiet.
Quiet,
Okay.
pero
Quiet.
the evil eye.
Pag nagtatampo sa amin, tak 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 the whole time. Tak 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 tak.
I don't know, guys. How do you
I
get
don't know.
mad? How do you get mad? Ako kasi pagka tumitingin lang ako eh. Tapos makuha ka sa tingin. I don't know. That's
Alam mo
what I
ng
do.
problema.
But
Alam
then,
lang nila meron.
But they don't know what the problem is if you don't tak 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 tak. Why don't you tak tak tak?
because actually, if when we're mad, we just don't talk. I don't know. Ikaw, Ken. Basta magtitingin lang kami ng masama. Ganon.
Wala eh. I've practiced my thoughts to be silent. Pag bad trip ako, just okay, fuck it. I'll just go with my games. Dota, ML, or other like Among Us, diba? Any game to get back to that state. Kasi parang noticing emotions, if you give it time, it bumababa yan eh. So, kung yung wife ko galit, kaya pabayaan ko na lang siyang galit. Nabahala siya.
Here's
I
a
think
tip.
has
Kaya
one
nga eh.
survival instinct ata yun.
Oh,
Eh.
Sumera, you're right. Alam mo, tama ka. Mali ako. Tapos na, I mean, I don't have to destroy my day. Di ba?
Ah,
Parang, okay na yun. Parang, most of the time naman, kuwari, mini things yan, lalo sa pag mag-asawa. Hindi mo natabi yung pinagkainan, hindi mo na, naiwan mo yung ganito dito. Di ba? May mga ganun eh. Pero understanding this, I mean, men's brains and women's brains are always different. So, getting to understand that first in a relationship, that solves a lot of problems kagad.
How
So, yeah.
about
that's
you, Abby?
right. That's true. Ako din, same kami ni Miss Christina. I tend to be quiet, but I'm also similar to Ken because I make myself busy until I
Mm.
forget about it. I don't give it time kasi ano yan, waste of energy yan. So I don't dwell on that. So
Jello?
nagpapa-busy-busyhan.
Jello.
Jello? How do you handle anger?
Jello parang hindi nagagalit eh.
Anger,
When I see him.
I let the other person get angry and steam out the some steam out, and
Okay.
then that's after the storm have subsided. That's where I'm gonna talk.
That's kind of weird, because for us, we need to talk it out. So if my husband is quiet, I get more annoyed. But when he starts communicating with me and we talk to each other about the problem, then my anger subsides. So it's a bit opposite from what everybody's feeling, that the more quiet you become, parang your anger subsides. Sa amin, the more quiet my spouse becomes, the more angry I get. Kasi why don't you want to communicate? Diba? If there's a problem, let's talk about it. There's nothing about emotion. I'm not. Pero when he shuts down, I get angrier. Is that the same?
Well,
Uh,
for me, I'll know. When I start talking when I'm angry, it means it's 100 times I'm angry.
Sa akin, hindi.
Ayun.
If I'm
Kasi,
talking, hindi pa ako galit. Pag
oh,
tumahimik na ako, oh my gosh, aalis na ako sa bahay.
kasi ganun
Because
ako.
it's showing, oo. If you love the person, you have to over-communicate. If you don't like the person anymore, then that's the time you shut up and shut them off from your life. Oh, di ba?
Hindi, kasi ano yan, it's about, kasi I don't know, but the way I see it, kasi I have to stop myself, kasi I'm actually creative when I'm angry. So I have to let my anger subside kasi madami akong sasabihin. So I don't want to say anything that I really that I will regret. So that's why I actually stop myself from talking. That's the only reason I have for it. But if I cannot control, if it's like really raging anger, that I start talking, ibig sabihin, ako, murder to. I'm just kidding. Okay, anyway. Okay, so Yin.
with me, I have parang, I have the same experience with Tina. I used to be noisy or talk a lot when I'm angry. But now, kasi I'm starting to realize that it's consuming my energy being angry. So I'm
You
turning
cannot be
it.
too angry and talking at the same time. You just choose one.
Yeah. So what I'm doing now, I'm trying when I feel like I'm starting to get angry, I'm trying to distance. I'm trying to set distance and I'm trying to isolate myself, and then I'm trying to calm down first before I start talking. So yeah, so my husband starts to appreciate that. That's all.
So how is your husband when he's angry?
He's not talking, just like Ken. It doesn't bother. So it
How do you
doesn't
know
bother.
when they've cooled off na? Ano, pag kunyari ginawan ka ng kape, friends na kayo uli?
Hindi. Pag, ako si Hobby just is an extrovert, but he does the
Yeah.
same thing as Ken. When he accepts the food that I give him. Kasi pag galit siya, he won't accept anything.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Sayang yung pagkain. Malamang kakain kami, gutom kami. Diba?
Hindi. Tinitiis
Ayun.
niya talaga yan pag ano.
Pero
Yeah.
introverts, extroverts has nothing to do with gender, according to
It,
clinical studies.
No,
Wala, no relation.
hindi. Walang
it's your
relation.
it's your person. I think it's where it's your thinking
Pero
process.
you think about it, diba? Aren't Filipinos supposed to be like extrovert?
That's what they
Right?
say. That's
Like
what they
war,
say.
friendly,
Hospitable and all that. Pero how come like we have six, six people here who are introverts?
This is my fault. This is the bias in choosing the guest. you
Kaya
know,
nga eh, paano nagkataon? But
no,
I didn't expect. Oh yeah, I didn't expect that.
that's my grand plan. No, it's just
okay.
Nagkataon lang.
uh,
Kasi you would expect that Filipinos would be more extroverted as a race, right? That's my impression. They're always singing, dancing, having fun.
that's
But
so
apparently, there's a
no.
lot of people here who introspect.
No,
You
actually
reflect.
singing and dancing and doing that. That's so when I watch Vice Ganda, I get tired. I
Okay.
really get tired. That's why I don't watch it. It's not that I don't like the person. It's just that I get tired. That's the only reason I have. Yun. So
Okay.
there are certain personalities I really avoid because I get tired.
Baka hindi rin pwede kasing matagal. I have a friend who's more extroverted than me,
Mm.
and we can actually spend almost 24 hours hopping from one experience to the other. 'Di ba? So for you guys, siguro from the to the second, so we've done breakfast, then we've done brunch, then we've walked down for afternoon tea, and then we've done for KTV, then we do drinks, and then we do breakfast again. So it's but I think that might be very tiring for most people.
Okay. But that's ito. Okay, so we're 1.5 hours talking about introverts, extroverts. Guess what? We have an extrovert in the house. So you're not tired. So I'm not sure with the others, okay? But that's how it is. The time. Parang I don't know. I think you like really parang being with people and it energizes you. Yun. That's the only explanation. I cannot really kasi relate because I'm not one. Kaya nga yung sinasabi na, hindi extrovert ka, Christina, hindi introvert ako because it's actually where how I think and how I this draining process. But it's not that we don't like people. Actually, we're fascinated with people, especially the ones who are opposite sa amin. Yun. So anyway, okay. So Tina, okay. So yun, do you have any webinars upcoming?
I am the moderator in HR Shouts and Whispers. So right now we're very busy in signing up with a lot of free webinars. Now is I don't know, parang feeling ko now is a wonderful time because as a result, there's a lot of training programs on employee engagement, labor laws. But usually I just write in my blog at tinainmanila.com. And I'm also very busy managing the business and trying to survive until 2021. I do have an announcement for everyone. 6 months is coming up soon from the time we started in ECQ. So I'd like to tell people or companies to please be mindful of the date because if you floated your staff beyond the 6 month mark, you might be liable to pay separation pay already para everything will be fine, right? Because a lot of people are not conscious. It's coming up in the next 10 days. So people have to really be conscious of the date. It's 6 months na regular na tayo from ECQ.
Yeah, I think it's a provision
It's
of
very
law.
important, yeah.
Yeah. So actually, this one we don't really know when it's going to end, but we hope it ends soon. Okay, and how about Ken? Anything new?
Siyempre. Sa akin yun nga, I'm gonna do a webinar with Arriva Academy. Ang title nito is Full Speed Ahead and ang topic ko is persuasive sales presentation skills in the new normal. This would be on September 23. Yun. And syempre, October will parating na yung October. We're still doing hypnotic communication and we're gonna focus on an NLP comprehensive for day one. So anything that you need to know about neurolinguistic programming, that'll be for day one. And for day two, we will focus on hypnosis and conversational hypnosis and hypnotic language patterns on day two. So if you're interested for that masterclass, message me up dito sa HR Shouts and Whispers. Ayan, popost ko lang din dito yung event. Mga October yan. October 17 to 18. Hypnotic.com. Yeah, yun lang.
And how about Jello? What's up?
So as a president of iConnect Toastmasters Club, I invite you to our meeting on Saturday, this coming Saturday, September 5, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Zoom meeting. And you can actually express your interest to attend our meeting on my Facebook, Angelo Ryutatar, or iConnect Toastmasters Club Facebook page.
And how about Eve? What's up?
Yeah, right now I'm with Fort Bonifacio Toastmasters. Yeah, and then on the side, yeah, I'm doing consulting. So you may want to consider joining Toastmasters, any branch. Yeah,
So
that's
Eve is an accountant. Okay, she offers accounting services.
yeah.
Those are the services that she offers.
Can I
Okay.
ano lang, last lang po. I want to, for anyone who wants to improve their public speaking, their communication skills, negotiation skills, leadership skills, friendship skills, habol ng girlfriend skills, I strongly encourage Toastmasters. It's an international program. I'm not part of any Toastmasters here in the Philippines, but I've gone through one whole level before, and it's one of the most amazing programs you can ever find that is like not as expensive. Because in Taiwan, it was super expensive. It was like 10,000 NT yata or something. But here in the Philippines, I think it's like 1,000 pesos. Is that correct? To register, how much is it?
2,800.
2,800 for like 10 sessions. Is that correct? It's
That's going to be for 6 months already.
6 months. That's amazing. If you're going to spend money in a webinar, on a trading program, please spend that 2,800 on a Toastmasters program in the Philippines kasi it's much more convenient now that it's done in Zoom, and it really makes a big difference to your how the way you talk, the personalities. It's like getting for a John Robert Powers, which is a lot more expensive at a very cheap rate. Like I can't emphasize how important Toastmasters is. And I know this is not a program for Toastmasters, but you really have to emphasize how wonderful this program is in making you more extroverted, because it's not just about talking, but it's about preparing yourself for a public speech. And a lot of the thoughts that come in, a lot of the speeches there are so wonderful because you've never known. It's about a sharing of experience in a very organized way, and it will really change your life. I'm sorry, Christina, but just want to emphasize how wonderful Toastmasters is, and it's really cheap here in the Philippines.
Well, we can have John Robert Powers and versus Toastmasters people, and we can have a
Malayo yung
speech of
price. Malayo yung step.
Just a price, diba? The price of Toastmasters here is very reasonable. It's the price that you pay for a webinar. If you don't have one yet and you just want to try, I think you offer a free trial, right? At least one session.
No, actually, we
Yes.
do get like
Demo.
encourage people to guess to be our guests, and then they can try it out, and then until they decide to be a member, diba, they can try out the sessions because it's on Zoom.
It's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, so actually I tried it. I joined the Toastmasters Fort Bonifacio last June. Okay, yeah, that's why I met Jello and Yin. Okay, and it's been a wonderful Saturday morning ever since. So that's how we do it in Toastmasters. So, yeah, so yun nga, we share experiences, and then we go through our speeches. We have our projects, and then if you don't naman have if you're not yet a member, you can also try the impromptu speeches. So,
Mm.
diba? It's actually a good ano naman.
It's an amazing program.
Yeah,
Amazing, yeah.
yes. And then Miss Abby's group here, they do actually offer communication training also, I believe, Miss Abby.
Yeah, that's true. But our upcoming webinar is on technical writing. That would be on September 25. It's actually our third rerun because all of the previous runs were fully booked. So we're running it again. My colleague, Kier Beliesa, will be facilitating that one. I also have my own webinar on UD interventions on September 30, by the end of this month. And additionally, if you want to know more about valid and reliable assessments, please do visit our Facebook page, Profiles Asia Pacific VisMin, for you to get more inputs about valid and reliable assessments and profiling tools.
Yes,
Thank you.
your online assessment tools, right?
Yes, correct.
Yes, and it actually is Miss Abby's second time here on HR Shouts and Whispers. So yay! And then on my part, okay, this Saturday, okay, September 5, I will be holding a seminar on valid, legal, and sensible designing competitive compensation policy. So that's my seminar. That's with a tie-up with Circle Logica Group, CPHR. So kung hindi pa kayo nakakapag-enroll, humabol na kayo. So that's actually a 2.5 hour workshop. So and also Ken will be there. It's our opening day. So I'll see you guys. And it was like a wonderful discussion on introverts and extroverts. So I hope you gain the weaknesses, the strengths, and then you just adopt these skills or traits that can help you go through the challenges at the office and also with your daily lives. Okay, so I'll see you next week. Next week we'll be having with the head of Circologica and also one of the trainers there, si Oliver Riquelman and then si Michael. And we will be talking about building career resilience. So we'll see you next week, but on Saturday. So see you.
Yeah.
Bye
All
for
right.
now.
Have a great night, guys.
Okay,
Thanks.
thanks, guys.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.